Hi, I'm Kelly King from CRK Training, and I'm here today with Whoopie Pie. And what we're going to go over in today's blog video is teaching your horse how to be soft in the bridle. So you probably noticed that I have a rope halter on, and the reason I do is because I like to start this softening work in a rope halter. Whether I have a horse that has come in for me to train and to start, like a young horse, or a horse that's coming in to be restarted, I like to work in the rope halter first, and then I'll move into the bridle, which is exactly what we're going to do in today's video. So before I actually start, let me just talk a little bit about why we want our horses to be soft. So obviously I think you can understand that when you're riding, it feels a lot better to have a horse that when you take a feel of the reins, they're light. You know, they're kind of like butter in your hands, as opposed to a horse that roots against the bit or pulls into the bridle, you know, or pushes and snatches and throws his head every time that you take contact with the reins or with the bit. So that's why we want our horses to be soft, and it's really important for any horse in any discipline. It just makes for a much more pleasant riding experience if a horse is trained to be soft and light in the bridle. So let me just start with the very first steps if you have a horse that has never done this before. And we'll see how Whoopie Pie shows up today, because she is I trained her last year, and then she's come back for me to do some work with again. And we've done a little bit of this, but not a lot. So we'll see if she remembers what we've done in the past few days. So I'd like to start by softening side to side first. It's a little bit easier than just asking for them to go straight back in the beginning. Good girl. So that's all I want. I just want her to come around like that to a light pressure. And then I also want her to stay there. So you notice how she came around and she paused there for a second. She didn't just take her head right away from me again. Because what we want to develop as we work with this, good girl, as the horse is relaxing, and they're not only moving their nose and their head to get soft to the pressure, but that they're also relaxing through their neck, and that they're lowering their head and neck a little bit as we do this, just like that. Good girl. Now as you first do this, your horse might do kind of like Whoopie Pie just did, which is start to swing her hindquarters out. And if they do that, just stay with them, keep asking for them to bring their head around, and then you might want to even just start over and ask for a little bit more softly. So as you do this, try to think about setting your horse up for success. So that means that you ask lightly and you ask for a little bit at a time. When you get a nice softening, you want to praise, and then you want to build on that success. So you don't want to just try to pull your horse's head around, because see what happens. You know, she swings her hindquarters out. So instead I'm going to ask softly, good girl. Let her come around a little bit at a time. Good girl. And praise her when I get what I want. Good girl. Now you can either move to the other side, or sometimes I'll just switch my reins, or grab the other rein, or take my hand over to the other side and ask for it this way. It's a little easier to this side because she's got herself focused on something down there. So she's happy to turn her head and look that way. Okay, I'm going to ask her back this way one more time. Good girl. Okay, so now that I've got the side to side, I'm going to ask for her to soften straight back. That's it. And again, what I want her to do is that she's softening here with her nose, but that she's also lowering her neck. So she's not just doing what's called breaking at the pole. She's not just moving her nose back and forth to get away from the pressure. She's actually kind of softening into the pressure and into what I'm asking for. There you go. Good girl. Good girl. And then I want them to just kind of be soft wherever I want to take their nose from the ground here. I want them to just soften right into that. That's it. Good girl. Good girl. And you also notice as I ask for her to start going back and I'm asking for the lowering of the neck, I'm holding my hand right here, like right on the corner of the halter basically, instead of back here on the strap. And I just find it a little easier to hold on right there. That's why I do that. Okay, so that's the basics of getting your horse to soften. And what we're gonna do now is switch, put a bridle on, and I'll show you how I just continue this work in a standard bitted bridle. Okay, so we're back here with the bridle on, and I'm gonna show you how I do the exact same thing that I just showed you with the rope halter with the bridle on. So I'm gonna start with the side to side. Good girl. And like I said, I've found that if I do this stuff with the rope halter, doing it with the bridle will just come much easier. There you go. And again, if she moves her butt, I'm just going to stay here and ask for it again. So I want her to learn to kind of disconnect that I can control her nose without her butt swinging around all the time. And this is how you start to work on getting a horse to bend too, because the first step is them realizing that you can ask for that nose and they don't have to always turn their hind end around to keep themselves straight. Okay, so let me do the other side here. Good girl. Good, so she's nice and soft side to side. Now I'm gonna just ask her to soften straight back. And I'll do this several ways. Sometimes I'll kind of just ask at the corner of the bridle here. There you go. And again, reward the small tries. Good girl. Because you want it's a lot easier to build on small successes than to wait until you get that ideal picture of exactly what you want. So build on the little things. Good girl. Another way that I'll do that is by taking both my reins, almost as if I was riding. And I'm going to ask both reins. Good girl. And again, I want her more softening and stretching down, not just bobbing her nose and going like behind the vertical. And if your horse gets stuck as you're asking for them to give straight back like this, you can do a little bit side to side. So if she would get stuck here, I would just go to ask her to soften to one side again, bring her straight, good girl, and ask for it again. Good girl. Good girl. And this is a really good way too to teach like a young horse or a horse that you're maybe working on retraining, teaching them to hold a little bit of contact and not just to give and move away right away. So I'll start to build on that in the beginning. I'm just asking for them to give a little bit, and then I'll start to hold it and see if I can get them to stay there. And I'll ask for it a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And again, just build on all that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, this is just kind of, you know, the very basics of get your horse soft, and then there's a lot more that we can do with it, with moving into it handwork and carrying these same concepts over to when we're riding as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like the video, please share it, and also make sure that you go over to crktrainingblog.com. We've got more great videos over there, and you can leave comments with questions, and also make sure you subscribe so that you never miss any of our weekly videos. We'll see you there.